It's time to go beyond the headlines, cause I don't put in overtime just so I can headline, okay. Now it's Fox Sports, I'm live with Renee. Going hard every day, sports rapping every play. Different segments for your favorites, coming at you daily. With positive vibes, yeah, we some game changers. Basketball, football, soccer, with different interviews, you never know who may pop up. Listen, only on Beyond the Headlines, this is Beyond the Headlines. Only on Beyond the Headlines, this is Beyond the Headlines. Only on Beyond the Headlines, this is Beyond the Headlines with Renee Washington.
She's back on Beyond the Headlines with Renee Washington this week. Last week she was closing the show. This week she's talking to us about her journey. She's an author, singer, songwriter, producer, wears many hats. It's Fran Pitre from Jacksonville, Florida. Fran, welcome to the show.
Hi, Renee. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. I'm glad that we get a chance to talk and dive into your journey and to, who you are today, being that you were on the show last week and, listeners had the chance to hear your music, and now they get a chance to hear a little bit more about who you are. So take us back to that journey, and starting with the fact that you are a mother of 3 sets of twins, which is incredible. You should play the lottery with those odds.
Well,
incredible.
To start it is, and I wouldn't have it any other way, honestly. But I would never have planned it out this way, that's for sure.
Right.
So, if I'll answer your question, the journey began, when I was a very small child. I've always been interested in music and performing, and I have been doing so my entire childhood and teens and all through college in musical theater. And by the time I was in my early 20s and early married, I was in a rock band and loved every bit of it. So that was sort of my side gig while I was a graphic designer full time. And my husband and I were sort of just growing our careers and starting our marriage. And then along came set number 1 in 1994, and those were my girls. And so that put the music that I was very much into on the back burner for a bit. I figured it would be a little while before I could ever get back into that. When set 2 came along, I figured that back burnered pot was probably going to be moved to another burner or taken off the stove altogether. And by the time set number 3 arrived, my boys, 12 years ago, I believed that was just going to be taken off, put in the sink, and that was done. It was never going to happen again. But I'll tell you, the little guys got to be about 10 years old. I realized that my world was changing and evolving, and I wasn't so much the stay-home mother working, out of my home office and, providing some supplementary income to what our family needed. But I felt the need to come back out with my world, with who I am, because who you are is, when it comes to your passions and your dreams, not just what you like, but it's actually who you are. And it was not going to be staying in anymore. And so I decided to do some local investigating here in Jacksonville. When I performed before, we were living in the D.C. area. So it was a new music community here, and I was welcomed with open arms here, and made some wonderful connections, as well as a friend that's up in New York that I've known for years. Decided to have me, now that I was back in the music world, to have me come up and perform with them in New York, which was a dream. I'm actually from New York, and that's just kind of coming back to my roots, and it was a wonderful experience. I did that several times, actually, and I've since getting back into it, I've been writing my music and composing with a fellow composer here in Jacksonville, and we have finished an album that was released last year, at the end of last year, and we're currently working on our second album. And I have a band, and it's named Class Act with me, and we are just moving and shaking and having a wonderful time. And basically that's my journey right now. I also wrote my book 10 years ago called Twins Times 3, about my family, the roller coaster ride of going from the 2 of us to 4 to 6 to 8. And from there, I went ahead and released my book again this past year, the 10-year anniversary of Twins Times 3, updating our listeners on and our readers on the lives of our family, of our children, and all the amazing things they've accomplished. And I brought the music back in, so it all became, just let everyone know how it all kind of meshes together.
I love it. I love it. And I love the fact you have your first set of twins were both girls, then you had a son and a daughter, and then your last set were 2 boys. So you have the even 3 and 3 split.
Exactly, and every twin set combination.
Yes, absolutely. And to be able to write about that in your book in 2009, this is something that immediately struck me when I read your story. It was like, I have to have you on my Positive Vibes Only segment, because you're not only, you're more than just a mother and a wife. You know, you're also helping to provide information, resources, tips, advice through your stories to other families that are, you know, that have twins, or just parents in general, you know. And
Precisely.
what's kind of been the biggest, or the feedback that you get from your readers that have followed you and kept up with your family over the years?
Wow, that's a great question. You know, when I first put the book out in 2009, the reason I wrote the book to begin with, it was really a cathartic journey. It started with a person, myself, who just kind of coped with stress by journaling. I would write, you know, jot down emotions, observations, fears, etc., and in doing so, it helped me get through the difficult pregnancies, the fact that my babies were born early and were NICU babies, etc. All of those challenges. And in doing so, it really helped me to put down my feelings. When I realized by the 3rd set of twins that I was doing it again and it was really helping me, I realized that a book was actually, you know, beginning to be born. So then I decided to start all over from the very beginning and write the entire story. And then when I finished the book, I began to blog. And I created a blog in 2010 called, it's basically just branding myself as franpitre.com, and it is the resources for all things twins, because I have now every set of twin combination, and I've been through the gamut of all of it. So I have had feedback from, and other, you know, lots of respect, I guess, from my own experiences and my ability to share the experiences that I've gone through, whether it was morning sickness, whether it was fear, of carrying multiples in a high-risk pregnancy, all the way through potty training and sending your twins off to, you know, to preschool, all the way up to college. And I've, you know, just the full array of experiences I've been able to use and share with just, you know, countless other parents that are starting out that journey themselves. And I have been very honored to be able to provide that information, resources, and support for them.
Yeah, and I think what better person than someone that has experienced all of these parenthood challenges times 2. You know, you went through potty training, dealing with, you know, with 2 kids and teaching 2 kids how to walk and putting 2 kids into getting 2 kids into college, you know. And so even overcoming pregnancy, I know, like, I have not had any kids yet, but, you know, a lot of women talk about being able to bounce back from pregnancy. And whether it's physically getting your body back in shape, or, you know, emotionally, mentally, you know, now going from carrying your child to, you know, getting them into daycare, whoever's watching them, so you can get back into work, or whatever it may be, your routine.
Right.
And you've dealt with all of that double.
Certainly.
Again.
Certainly.
And again. Yes.
And honestly, it's an honor to be able to pay forward the support that you were given. When I was given, you know, so much support by the Parents of Twins Club, both the national levels and the local levels, I was helped tremendously in terms of support and just the emotional support and the information about, you know, logical things, just the putting, you know, your the logistics together of how to, you know, get what's the better twin stroller, whether it's the side-by-side or the front and back. I mean, you're getting input from other people, and in doing so, you know, you learn and you figure out and you kind of cut some of those, you know, having to learn on the go and actually, you know, get experience through other people. And I just felt very, very strongly about paying that forward. So after I was able to successfully breastfeed all of my sets, I actually became a lactation counselor, and I could help other moms of multiples, because it is a very challenging situation trying to overcome some of the situations that arise early with breastfeeding. And so that type of thing, I just felt very, very, very strongly that was one thing I was supposed to do. And I took it from there and went further and became more so, you know, all over parenting. And that's why my blog contains information on all those different, you know, stages that you go through with your pregnancy, and all the way through sending, as I said, our twins off to college for the first time. There's a lot of things that, are considered and that someone doesn't even realize, oh, my gosh, I didn't even realize that was a thing, whatever it is. And so, being able to pay that forward has been such a blessing to me to be able to help other moms. Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. That is incredible. Now, for you making that transition, getting back into pursuing your passion, music, you talked about now having your band Class Act. You have also performed on Broadway. What was that transition like for you going from, maybe it being, as a kid performing, singing, to now making it, more of a career and figuring out your way to brand yourself and to grow your audience and to, book performances and writing songs, juggling some different things. Talk to me
I'll tell you what.
Well.
Yeah. And I think what I realize is that, as you get older, you get on the other side of being a mother. You've raised some children. You have a lot of life experiences to base everything on. You also realize just how fast life goes by. And I think there's a confidence that we have in our 20s that we do feel it, and we do have that desire to move forward with what our passions are. However, I think that when you get to another stage in life, as I am in now, the over 40 stage, that you realize it's not just about feeling confident or just feeling like I really have that desire to do it and I'm going to do it. You start to realize that there's no reason not to, and just go for it. And, where I probably in my earlier days, I probably would have been more letting other people's opinions maybe, influence me, maybe letting other people say, maybe you're not so good, that type of thing. Well, with me, I didn't, I don't even ask anybody's permission at this point in my life. Now, do I need the support and do I need the encouragement of my family? Of course. And they have been incredible along all of this time. When I announced to my husband that I really wanted to get back into music, he just said, babe, that's fine, go for it. Because that's who he has always been with me, and we've been with each other. We've known each other since we were teenagers. And we've been along, all through the good and bad, the ups and downs. So, we have always been a team and will continue to be so. And so in doing, taking it from sort of more of an amateur type, side gig type thing to where I'm doing it now, again, it has to do with the fact that there's no time like the present. And I just, do I know exactly what I'm doing all the time? No. Do I think, well, this makes sense, try that, let's try that now. If that isn't working, let's try that. A lot of it has to do with just knowing a few people and then, just not being shy and saying, listen, I'd like to meet so-and-so. Could you introduce me? Or, do you think that opportunity might include my band? Or that type of thing. And I just, I've lost the fear of asking. And I think that that's important. I think we get to a point in our lives where it doesn't hurt to ask, and what could happen if they say no? Well, then you just go another direction. So, and I have been so blessed that everything has basically just been one door opening after another. And I truly, and I'm so grateful and so thankful that I am really living my best life and really, really, living this dream. So it has been an incredible experience so far.
I love that maturity switch of, instead of asking why should I do this, it's why not do this. It's
exactly.
It's no longer feeling like you have to wait for things. If you want something, if you want to make something happen for you, making your music career, making it more than just a side hustle or a hobby into a career, why not do that? Why not pursue what's going to make you happy? So that is something I think a lot of people get stuck on. It's like we always want to weigh all the possible outcomes and what could go wrong and what all do you have to do and all these things, factors that go into it instead. And I'm not saying jump into things blindly, but sometimes you do have to take that leap of faith and trust that this is.
And that's exactly it. It's the leap of faith. Renee, exactly. You worded that perfectly. It absolutely is a leap of faith. And I think we all, at some point or some circumstances will allow us to realize one day that it is worth the risk, whatever the risk is. And you think, well, what is the worst that could happen? I could embarrass myself or something like that, or nothing terrible, nothing earth-shattering and nothing life-threatening. So just trying it, going for it. And you know what? If it doesn't work out exactly the way you maybe imagine it will, it's going to still work out somehow. And I believe never hesitate. I think that fear holds us back in everything that we ever try or we ever attempt to or we ever don't actually attempt to do, because we believe that something or someone is going to stop it. But as I said, I think we get to a certain point in our lives where we say, I'm just going for this, and I'm making no apologies for it. So here I am, and I'm loving it, and I'm thrilled that I can inspire other moms, other women, to say at this point, you've raised some children, you've done a fabulous job, your life is not over. So if you had that book you ever wanted to write or that grad degree that you wanted, go for it. There's no one stopping you. It's not too late. So remember that. Follow those passions. They weren't put into your heart by mistake. In fact, what I'm doing this very second is I am quoting some lyrics to a song that I'm writing and recording right now. It's called Follow Your Dreams.
Oh, wow. There you go. Oh, how fitting. That's perfect. That's so awesome. So, Fran, where can our listeners follow you to keep up with what you have going on, your blog,
Wonderful.
Music? What are your links and everything for people to follow?
Sure, absolutely. So my mom blog for twins is franpitre.com. Simple as that. So FRANPITRE.com. My music, which does link from that site, but you can go directly to also franpitresings.com, which is my website of all things music. Each of these sites connect to all of my social media. So everything is there with Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And you can also find me on every music streaming site out there, including Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, and everything.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us on our Positive Vibes Only segment this week. Guys, make sure to give her a follow. You've got a lot of great things going on.
Wonderful.
Like you are just really getting into the beginning of things. There's only more to come in the future. So thank you so much.
I feel that too. Thank you so much, Renee. It's an absolute honor and privilege to speak with you today. You have a wonderful day.